nation wants to be associated
Hello, everyone.
with
It's
the
Charlton.
mass murder of innocent men, women, and children. The nations of the world can be judged by the friends they keep. No nation can succeed in the long run by promoting rogue states, brutal tyrants, and murderous dictators. In 2013, President Putin and his government promised the world that they would guarantee the elimination of Syria's chemical weapons. Assad's recent attack and today's response are the direct result of Russia's failure to keep that promise.
And CBS News State Department reporter Kylie Atwood is in Washington and joins us. Kylie, very strong words directed at President Putin, Russian President Putin, at Russia. We know from the response in Sputnik right now that there have been some equally strong words against President Trump this evening. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so I think it's important to note what President Trump noted there, which is in 2013, Russia did agree to rid Syria of chemical weapons. And in 2014, actually, Secretary of State then John Kerry said that 100% of the chemical weapons were out of Syria. Clearly, that's not the case. We have seen chemical weapons used time and time again since he made that statement. But what is being demonstrated today is that the U.S. no longer trust Russia to be the ones who are determining if Syria has chemical weapons or not, because they continue to use these chemical weapons. And so what is important to note here is that amid kind of the awful U.S.-Russia relations that have been deteriorating over the past year or so, the U.S. no longer trusts Russia to be kind of, to hold it to its promise here. And so that's why they're going after these sites that they say the Syrians are using to develop these chemical weapons.
Right. Kylie, thank you so much. I just want to point out that in the report that's coming from Russian media, Alexander Shirin, the first deputy chairman of the State Duma Defense Committee, called President Trump not just a criminal for the whole world, he is Adolf Hitler #2. So clearly the rhetoric is ratcheting up on both sides. Kylie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to go back to Mike Lyons, CBS Radio military analyst. So, Mike, what do you make of this Russian response? I mean, clearly it is on Russian media, so it's going to be more directed, but it's pretty pointed. I mean, comparing President Trump to...
So this is live coverage that President Trump has ordered precision strikes. The U.S. Armed Forces, in conjunction with France and the U.K., a combined force. I think it's primarily the United States, though. But
I'd want to hear from Putin. I'd want to hear from some others
there. He made this announcement at 9 o'clock. I made a video then, and it's still never uploaded. I don't know if there's some kind of measures in place that don't allow YouTube's videos to be uploaded at this time. And that very well may be the case, because that might be the only way people in Syria and Damascus can get information. I'm not real sure of that. I mean, that might be just paranoia on my own part. But anyways, so they struck, and it lasted for about an hour. It was, we don't know exactly if it was all by air. Tomahawk missiles from the USS Donald Cook that's in the region. The destroyer battleship, the USS Harry Truman is also there. That's an aircraft carrier, and other naval assets. I believe there's submarines that have missile capabilities. But it was, you could hear when one of the reporters was live in Damascus or live in Syria, you could hear literally rumbles in the background as, bombs or missiles were landing, So they primarily struck 3 main targets: an airfield, a storage facility where chemical weapons were reportedly maintained, and also another facility that had the Republican Guard. He was just talking about that, and I don't think he means the Iranian Republican Guard. That's the elite force of the Iranian army. But
remind us why the U.S. initially supported some of the rebel groups and then withdrew that support.
You know, a lot of it I think had to do because of Hezbollah, Israel, where this border. You know, we don't like.
So now, you know,
they don't make a lot of sense for us.
I'm sorry, I keep jumping around in fact, because these are actual, you know, some new video coming in of, you know, missiles being launched.
This is an opportunity to be an antagonist.
He mentioned manned aircraft, you know, in addition to, you know, I think Tomahawk missiles coming from that destroyer, the USS Donald Cook, but I don't know these for sure yet. It's all brand new, you know. So it lasted for about an hour. It now seems to be over, and I guess they're going to assess damage. The president had said it would be a sustained strike, meaning, you know, and he said until the Syrian government stops using chemical weapons. I mean, that leaves it pretty open-ended. That sounded like some kind of larger thing that was at play, but I don't know if it's. I don't know that it is. I think it's more of a surgical, symbolic strike. But there may be follow-up after they assess the damage and did they achieve what they wanted to. Pardon me. So far, there's been no damage reported against U.S. forces. And by the accounts I've seen so far, there were no. Russia did not interfere or retaliate as of yet.
But Syria is about to get chopped up pretty quickly, and so.
But do we need to retain some sort of presence at the table?
So we that presence is through the United Nations, I believe. I don't, you know, to your point, in some ways, unless you have people there on the ground or you've got going to kind of stake in the game, so to speak, skin in the game. Mm-hmm. But 2,000 troops doesn't cut it. You'd have to put 20,000. You'd have to put a large enough force where that actually make a difference, like the Russians have. The Russians have moved a significant amount of forces in there. They've got a naval base. They've got airstrips. They do a lot of things inside of Syria.
Just want to point out that
we begin
the Russian ambassador
after
to the US,
sort of
in a statement
gather
on
more
Syria's
information.
strike,
Thanks for watching
Russia
my videos.
warned...
Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.